Hey everyone, welcome back to Tusk Reaper channel here. So, one of the things I wanted to touch base on is arrows. I kind of wanted to go over an overview. So right now my bow, my recurve bow, does not have any arrows in it, and this is its base damage. I'll post everything down into the description, so everything can be broken down. You can kind of read it if you get confused on what's what. So you kind of pick best of the best, and as you move down the chart for your crafting, we're going to be looking at the overview of the wood arrow. That's the easiest for me to make, and it did take me a little while to take care of that and get all the comps to make all of these different types of arrows, and I've got them all down here. So we're going to look at them one at a time and on an individual basis here, and kind of see how it changes some of the metrics, and damage things that correlate with the recurve bow. The aluminum arrows are going to be similar, and of course, same with the bolts. But here we go. So this is the base damage that the recurve bow does, and then the arrows is on top of that damage. So the bleed chance is 33%, melee damage 20% bleed chance, and it has two attachment slots, which one is for ammo and one is for a optic sight of sorts. There's a couple of different ones you can choose from, but the base damage is 32 damage, 13.3 is the DPS. So we're going to break this down here. Here's the wood arrow, has 33% chance of bleed. The poison wood arrow has 33% chance to bleed, 99% chance of poison, 30% chance of torpidity effect, and 20% stamina effect. And then we go to irradiated wood arrow. 33% chance to bleed, 99% chance of radiation. And then, of course, I don't need to read each one. I'll just highlight it there. The stalker wood arrows, it's interesting, how it can affect the stamina and other things. Now that torpidity effect, that's the effect that it takes to basically make you go to sleep. So, and then of course the barbed wood arrows, which those are my favorite. Those are the easiest to make, but you got a bleed chance. So it's kind of interesting. If you hit a player with 2 soccer arrows or 2 irradiated arrows, the radiation sickness, man, should start killing them. And then here's the black widow arrows. Got bleed, poison, torpidity, and stamina. And then the spooky wood arrow, bleed and radiation. Now the certain death wood arrows, those are actually some of my favorite to play around with on PvP servers, because once upon a time, a little story, I was engaged to 2 individuals trying to kill me in the woods, and I had a crossbow, and I actually had certain death wood arrows, and they were like taking all these pot shots at me. One of them hit me, but it wasn't a critical hit. I just turned real quick and fired, and I got the guy with one of my certain death bolts, and those guys stopped chasing me. This is funny. And so here's my wood arrow. So you got bleed and 90% fire chance. So that's actually pretty cool. Now, if we go ahead and load these up, so right now there's nothing in the recurve bow. We're going to go ahead and load up the wood arrow, and it changes the metrics a little bit. Right? Let's double check. Sometimes, this game's still in beta, so I'm not sure if much changed on that. No, it stayed pretty much the same. So you just have a little added damage the bleed chance. So that's what I'm going to look out for. So 30%, 33% chance of bleed. Load that arrow in, and it is still 33% chance of bleed. All right, so now let's go ahead and go with the poison arrow. There we go. All right, so let's see here. Didn't look like it changed any metrics on the bow itself. Oh, there we go. All right, so now it did. So it did change the metrics. It put the poison, torpidity effect, and stamina effect on there. It raised them up. So that's very cool. All right, so now we are going to go ahead and go with the irradiated. Now it still has that poison chance. So what we have to do is just close that out and bring it back up. So it's not a big deal. And as you can see, it's now corrected to the radiation effect. So basically, whatever arrow you're using, it does change the effect on the bow. But in order for it to load up correctly, you got to close out your inventory window and bring it back up. And as you can see, it has those back in there. So I'll go ahead and load all of that information up for all of these arrows. I don't want to make this video too long, but it's quite interesting going through this game. There's a lot to it, and you have to be careful where you drop stuff. might have to go get it. It's like, geez, Willikers. I don't want to lose my arrows. I spent a lot of time making these little guys. So I'm going to want to use them. Alright guys, anyways, thanks for tuning in. Tusk Reaper signing off.